So let's start out with Nike. That's the correct way to pronounce that particular brand. South Africans sometimes call it Nike, but Nike is the way the Americans pronounce it. It's of course named after one of the Greek goddesses of working out or something. The world's leading sports footwear, apparel, equipment, accessories company, by far the largest, right? Founded by a guy called Phil Knight in Oregon in the United States in the 1964. His partner was a guy called Bill Bowerman. You've probably heard the stories. Bill Bowerman was the guy who took his wife's waffle iron. You know, the thing that you clamp together to make waffles. And he put a special kind of plastic in there and he made the first foot soles that got used in athletic training gear. And he was basically working with the University of Oregon athletes. And Phil Knight was his business partner, more of a marketing guy. They got the swoosh designed by somebody, paid them $14 or something. This is now by far the largest player in this space with a market capitalization of $96.64 billion. So that's interesting. Remember, I was talking yesterday about how $200 billion is the hallmark of a market capitalization of a big player. Well, this one's half the size, so still plenty of space to grow. Price to earnings ratio 30.36. So not cheap, but certainly a company that has grown well. Dividend yield of 1%. So it is a dividend payer, but not particularly generous. Let's have a look at what that 5-year chart looks like for Nike. So you're going to see a chart which proceeds in an upward and ever growing direction to the right. Those are the kind of charts we like to see. And that's trading at an all-time high in the market at the moment. That's at $112. But why is this a company that we're so positive about? Well, first of all, as I said earlier, it's got the opportunity to grow because it is just exploding sales with regard to young people getting out and doing some exercise. But there's more to it than that. There's also fantastic margin and production machine that's involved here. So take a look to the right of me here, and I've actually brought in some gear for us to be examining. So this is a Nike shoe, right? This is kind of the Nike Flyknit Lunar 2s. There are in fact Nike Flyknit Lunar 3s available on the market. And you can see this thing is manufactured in a totally knitted fashion. So remember, in the old days, a shoe like this would have been manufactured out of a sole, but then it would have had a whole bunch of leather and other strange materials that would have been stitched together and then glued to the sole. Nowadays, they make this thing 100% knitted. So there's a machine that knits a piece of upper here, which is exactly right and which has got parts that are denser and parts that are looser for aeration and so on. The point here is that these things sell for like $150 to $200 a pair. That's like 1,500 to 2,000 rands per pair, but they probably cost like $12 to make because that's a bit of plastic down there. This is a little bit of recycled polyester up here. They wear fantastically. They're extremely durable. The quality of these is marvelous and the margins are magnificent. These are also manufactured in Vietnam, okay? So they've got a global production facility, and another thing you can rest assured is that the labor that is in those factories is now monitored carefully by the corporation in order to make sure that no one is underpaid, no one is underage. That was an issue with them about 20 years ago. So fabulous. Nike, a company to be invested in. Here's an example of a garment. I mean, this is their dry fit range. You can see this stuff is manufactured, extremely popular. The fabrics are marvelous. They sweat well. You come off feeling like $1 million when you work out in these. Excellent. So we're definitely hot on Nike. This is a company you've got to own. For me, it's one of those top holdings that you've got to have in an international market. And remember, we've looked here at running gear, but all of the branded club gear is extremely popular as well. Remember, they sponsor the Brazilian national football team. They have brand sponsorships with some of the clubs like Barcelona. People buy those things every single year. The kit is updated. They're huge in all sorts of things. I mean, this kind of stuff as well. Remember, it's not just, this is a cap that is also, you know, the sort of thing. We're talking accessories. They're big in all sorts of sports like golf and NFL, and they make performance gear for athletes as well as for ordinary civilians like myself. Good. So we're definitely hot on Nike. You can see the stock has traveled a long way, but it's still going higher.